Now it is time to go back in time with the Stearns History Museum. We do this just about every Tuesday, and so glad to be back in the studio, Steve. So good to see you again.
Hey, thanks, Kelly. And we're glad you're back, too.
Feels like it's been a little while.
It has.
I always tell him that this is one of my favorite segments because I just love to learn about the history of the St. Cloud area. Where I grew up right outside of it, so it's neat to kind of be on the inside and take a look at stuff. And today, this is really fun. We're looking at basically a restaurant of our past and a very important burger.
Darrell Burger. The
Darrell Burger. Okay, so let's talk about this. You sent me some really awesome pictures. We're going to try to have a post up for everyone a little bit later today.
I must ask, did you have one over at all?
I don't think I've ever had one. Are they still around?
Sadly not.
No, they're not. I don't really know. I lived here for up until I went to college in Bemidji in 85, 86. Somebody lived around the area, so I don't know if I had one. I could have.
So it was at the Flatiron, so downtown by the post office in the triangle-shaped building.
Okay.
And then in the early 90s, Darrell Peterson, who's the famed Darrell Burger guy, he started working at O'Hare Brothers, so on the west end of town, and then they revived it in the mid-90s. So
okay.
That's when I had it. I didn't have it in the original location.
Okay. So do you know the history of what sparked the Darrell Burger? I mean, was this a shock to him that it actually became an historic burger in the area?
Well, the articles I read, I think what amazed me about this story is how quickly it became kind of this cult legend kind of thing.
Yeah.
So he started in 1975 at the Flatiron, and I've been in there once. It's tiny, and that's probably why I didn't have a Darrell Burger. There's only room for 20 people.
Oh, wow.
So it was really tiny, so you kind of poke your head in there, oh, it's full, and then we went off to something else.
Sure.
But, so I don't know what really he's got some criteria. He wanted a good hamburger, and he served his bun. He must have warmed the bun, not quite toasted it, I don't think. But
okay,
he
but
warmed it.
Because he said, cold buns are out.
Exactly.
No.
And it sounds like the flat top he used was probably the size of a mobile phone or something. I mean, it wasn't that quite that small, but it was tiny.
Yeah.
So, because the whole place was tiny.
Sure.
And so he had this flat top, and you could get different stuff on there. You get cheese. He made a sauerkraut burger.
So he's pretty much the big, what do you call them now? I'm trying to think of the name. You can get them just about anywhere. They're kind of like little grilled sandwiches everywhere. Paninis.
Oh, the George. Oh, yeah,
paninis, right? I mean, it's kind of like a pre-panini.
Yeah, and
almost.
He would make these to order to whatever basically that you wanted, and he always he threw chips, but his signature was a little piece of bazooka bubble gum that he would put on the side of the plate.
Isn't that something? He probably had an actual iron back there, like a clothing iron, just warming it up and. How interesting, though. So,
yeah, and the building itself has got a kind of a neat story, too. It was built in the 1880s, and it kind of evolved into different things, and it was hooked with the railroad, thus the name the Flatiron.
Okay.
And then it turned into a bar, in 1901, and then it kind of evolved over time, kind of through various owners and stuff, and then the Petersons bought it. Him and his wife ran it for really to the late 80s, early 90s.
So it was a bar when they bought it.
Correct.
Right.
3-2 bar. We've actually got some great photos. I will send you some of the inside of it.
Oh, great.
From mid-'70s. So shortly thereafter, Darrell had bought it.
Okay.
But it sounds like, too, I mean, part of the thing that I think made this thing popular was Darrell himself, is he was kind of a character.
Yeah.
And he would schmooze with the patrons and stuff. So I think that was also part of the charm of why it became such a legend.
Yeah.
Is he would talk to everybody.
Yeah.
And that kind of created this lure.
Like everybody wanted to go there.
Exactly.
Yeah.
A couple of the articles I sent you, people would go there every Tuesday, or they'd pick a day during the week and they'd meet friends there for lunch and stuff. So downtown people would just kind of walk over and.
Yeah.
It's kind of a neat story. And.
So this was a downtown location, and then do you think? I mean, through what you've read, did you just read about it that maybe it just kind of dwindled away from the excitement about it wore off for a while, and then somehow they ended up bringing it back later on?
Well, I think they wanted to do something else. From the articles I read, they wanted to get out of the bar business. They had done it for a number of years. He was originally from Minneapolis. He was a Marine Corps guy. And he ran this bar. I'm not sure exactly how he ended up in St. Cloud in the mid-'70s, but he purchased this bar. And then they decided, hey, you know what, enough's enough. And then shortly thereafter, he got lured to O'Hara's, and he started working there. And then within a short time, Tim O'Hara said, "Hey, you know what? We should really bring the Darrell Burger back."
Like everybody asks about the Darrell Burger.
Because now Darryl is there.
Yeah.
And that's when I had it the second go around.
So do you remember it? Was it the super greatest hamburger in the world, or?
It was really good.
Yeah. The fact that you remember it is pretty incredible.
It is.
Yeah.
I think it just reminds me of, because Darryl came out and he gave me my plate, you know, and it's that whole thing of him talking, I think, is part of the burger. Was it the best burger I ever had? I don't know.
Yeah.
But
it was the experience.
Exactly. That was part of the human side of him, just kind of schmoozing, and he had kind of a neat sense of humor, and so and he would talk to everybody. Yeah. So did he actually bring it back the way they had offered it before? Did they have the bubble gum on the side and chips and everything? Yep. Yeah. They did bring the plate out to you, and yeah, it's amazing how that human experience makes something so ordinary like a hamburger, it becomes more. And I think, to me, that's the real neat element of this story, is somebody can bring you a hamburger and you start eating it, and that's but this guy would take the time to kind of schmooze with you. And
I read that he probably didn't really realize what was going to happen. He was just being himself. He was just being himself.
Yes.
Yeah. Being friendly to his clientele and trying to give that great service that everybody always wants. And then it turned into, wow, he brought the burger right to my table. He was awesome. That burger was great.
Exactly. And of course, the Flatiron, how big it was, it's so tiny. They would have like little odd things where there'd be like a bucket filled with nickels, and if you threw a nickel and it hit the ceiling and come back down and land in there, you'd get a free beer. So there'd be all these little kind of quirky things, and I think that was part of the charm of the Flatiron experience. Okay, and so now, I don't mean to be ridiculous, but is that building being used today? Is it still there? It's still up. It is. Yeah, it's still. I think there's a photographic studio or something. Last I had heard, that's what's inside there. So I think there's still some renting going on. Some people have some offices. There's stuff upstairs, I think. Okay. I totally don't know the and where was this at exactly? Right by the post office. Right by the post office. Downtown. So there's, when you come on the north side of the Stearns County Government Center there, you kind of make the bend. Okay. It's right there. It's a brick building. Okay. Now I want to go see it. Now I'm curious. I got to go take a look at it. Drive by it on the way home. Exactly. Well, this was really fun. I'm glad that we talked about this today. You got some cool stuff coming up next week, too. Should we talk about it? We certainly can. Jim Barclay's coming in, so he's kind of a video oral historian guy, and we're going to talk about, it's kind of a prelude to our family history conference coming up in April. Oh. So Jim's a guy that'll videotape, let's say you have either yourself or a grandparent or whatever, that you want to remember something visually, rather than just tape. But he does oral stuff too, I think. But so he'll videotape you kind of in your setting, either your home or whatever. So it should be very interesting about questions he asks, how he brings out personal things to kind of enhance your story. Right. So if you want to leave this for someone, they will always have it. Or correct. That's really a great idea. What a great momentum. Yeah, it will be a lot of fun. Anything coming up this month at the museum that we need to know about? Any of your breakfasts or anything? Or have we passed it already? No, Breakfast Club will be next week. That's going to be Tom Woodward. He's going to talk about early rock and roll up until the 1970s. So we have that 1970s exhibit in the gallery. So this is kind of in conjunction with that. So that'll be next Wednesday at 9 o'clock. And then we have the big gala, which we were talking about earlier with Boyd Huppert from Channel 11. Wow. That'll be April 19th. And he's going to feature local stories. And I think a lot of people probably have heard some of these stories, like the dog in Sartell with the stick. Yeah. And he's going to talk about an 8-year-old pianist that is country music crazy from Albany. So all kinds of different stuff. There's a farmer who has a combine that turns into it's a candy dispenser from Kimball. So he's going to take all these quirky, fun stories, and he's going to mold it in why history matters. I love it. That's going to be really fun. Yep. Well, I appreciate you coming in today talking about the Darrell Burger. Thank you very much for having us. Appreciate it. And we will try to have that story up for you a little bit later with the pictures that he's brought us. And if any of your friends are wanting to listen, we'll also have the audio from this segment here today.